Hey everybody, welcome back to Somebody Come Listen to This podcast. I am your host Nava. How are y'all doing? It is so much to talk about, and I have so little time to talk about all the stuff I want to talk about. But today we're going to talk about what is going on in the United States. I usually don't talk about politics. I just talk about it, every now and again. But it's too much going on for us to not talk about it, y'all. France is asking for the Statue of Liberty back because these countries are looking at us and they are seeing that Trump is trying to bring back slavery. We're already back in Jim Crow days. For y'all that don't know, if you're not paying attention, we have less rights now than we had like in the Jim Crow days and probably even before Jim Crow days. He has taken away all of the safety measurements that were put in place to protect us from discrimination, like us being able to go into restaurants and bathrooms and schools. Everything we could be desegregated again. All of the laws that he has taken away, they can put up whites only signs. A lot of people think this could never happen, but y'all forget that this is where it did happen. And y'all forget that it is millions of people that he is putting in place and that they have been putting in place to allow this to happen. Y'all are not paying attention to all of the bullying and the paying off of people that they are doing to get them in certain offices in order to do this. There are a lot of Black people who are saying, well, that's good. We can just support Black-owned businesses. We could just do our own thing. Y'all don't know history. Do y'all not remember what happened in history when we tried to do that? They didn't want us to do that. They would not leave us alone. They would come and just destroy everything we planned to do or that we did do. And y'all don't know how serious it is because we don't own anything. We don't own any grocery stores. We don't own any banks, any schools, any hospitals, anything. Like the people who our ancestors during Jim Crow, they owned more than we own now. So we are in worse shape than we were back in Jim Crow, and y'all are not paying attention. So these people in France, they want their Statue of Liberty back because that statue was given to the United States as a sign after slavery. And it was like just a president saying that, we're a symbol of liberty and freedom. And most Black people don't know that we never had freedom in this country. Never. They gave us a longer leash, but we never had freedom. We don't own anything. And that's why they would destroy everything so they could keep us on that leash. So when the time came, like now, they could just yank everything off and under us. He's rolled back the laws. If he put on grocery stores today or hospitals, no Blacks allowed, they could do that. And everybody that's saying that they can't do that, it's against the law, he's changing the laws in front of our faces and nobody is stopping him. He's firing people and just bullying people to get out of the way. And the reason that all these white people are losing their land and property because they don't remember either. If you're poor and you're on the same level as the lowest of the low, which was obviously us in America, you don't have any rights either. You're going to be subject to them also. Either you're going to do what they say do, or you're going to be a casualty. And that's how it was in history. Y'all are not studying history, and these Republican women, they are not looking at their history because they had it just as bad, not just as bad as Black women, but just a little bit better because their men were the ones in charge. But they got a lot of crap too. But we're going to get into these videos of what our Caucasian people in America have to say to their own people. They are talking about it and they are trying to strategize because they see that a lot of Black women, I'm not even gonna say Black men, but everybody is noticing Black women. Black women are at the forefront of all of this. Black women are saying we're done because everybody knows that Black women are the ones that usually come out and march and protest. So much so the government knows this. That's why they demolished Black Lives Matter in Washington, that street that they made for Black Lives Matter. I really don't care because I'm not a fan of George Floyd because I looked into his past and his history and I know that he didn't like women. He especially didn't like Black women. So that didn't work. So then they said they were going to let out what's his name? The man that kneeled on his neck. And what they're doing, even white people are coming online and saying they're trying to get black people to come out in March so they can take them out. There are people on TikTok who know this. Black people know this. Black women are just resting. Black men, I don't know what they're doing, but black women, they know what's coming. A lot of black women are smart and they see what's coming. So they're just resting and for whatever is to come, because our ancestors have been through this time and time again. And I personally, I'm a spiritual person, so I know why our ancestors keep going through this. And I see the way we act today is the same way that our ancestors were acting before they got sent into slavery before. So I know why this keeps happening to us as a people. But let me stop talking, and I'm going to get into what the people have to say about this.
Pete Hegseth and the Trump administration are trying to kick black people out of the military. I know off rip that just sounds fucking crazy, but bear with me for a second while I explain. So here recently, Pete Hegseth, the guy who's cosplaying as the Secretary of Defense, sent out a letter to all high-ranking Pentagon officials directing them to review military standards, part of which is the grooming standards. Immediately afterwards, this MAR admin came out on the uniform and grooming standards for medical conditions. And in this MAR admin, it talks about pseudofolliculitis, otherwise known as razor bumps. And in this MAR admin, there is a 4-phase plan for military members who are afflicted by these razor bumps to try to treat their own razor bumps over the course of a year. And if they cannot treat their razor bumps in a matter of a year, they are subject to administrative separation. Now, on face value, this seems very straightforward and doesn't seem like it has any race implications to it. However, the majority of people who are afflicted by pseudofolliculitis are black service members. In fact, approximately 99.99% of all pseudofolliculitis cases in the military are black service members. While it is not impossible for a white service member to develop pseudofolliculitis, it is extremely rare, as this condition mostly affects black service members and black people in general. So this is directly targeting black service members on a condition they cannot control. Because if you've ever met a black service member who has been afflicted by pseudofolliculitis, you would know that they have literally tried almost everything to get around having razor bumps with no success. So this shit right here is just a way for Pete Hegseth and the Trump administration to kick black service members out of the military.
It's time to speak up. They're rolling back segregation. They are rolling back segregation. It is now no longer illegal to require separate facilities for people of different races. It is no longer illegal to say, here's the white water fountain and here's the colored water fountain. To be clear, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is still in place and has not been disbanded. But we know what their goal is. There is always step one in a process, and we absolutely know what their goal is. They are rolling back segregation. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Because this time, white people, we are the ones that are going to be on the front crossing that bridge. Do you hear me? We are the ones that are going to stand in the streets. Our black countrymen have done their time at the front of the lines, and it is our turn. It is our turn to face the water hoses and to face the dogs and to face the tear gas, because we have let this happen. Not on my watch. Not while there is breath in me will we go back. Is anybody out there with me? Go love your neighbor.
What's up, everybody? Major retired Richard Ojeda here, and Donald Trump has just removed a federal ban on contractors from having segregated restaurants, waiting rooms, and drinking fountains. Ladies and gentlemen, he's literally bringing segregation back. Where are all of these people in Washington, D.C., these Republicans? Where are they at? Where are you at, Richard Hudson? You've got people of color in your district. I think you need to answer for what we're seeing right now. This is unacceptable. Donald Trump is a racist, and anybody who stands by him and allows him to continue doing what he's doing is just as racist. This is unacceptable. We deserve so much better. Folks, let me tell you something. Vote.
To my black brothers and sisters across this country, I'm sorry. I'm asking for your forgiveness because I see it. I see men like me rolling back the protections for equal employment rights that you fought centuries for. I saw it yesterday as we incarcerated a generation of your children and then profited off of their unfair sentences. I saw it in the history books as men who looked just like me imprisoned and shackled people who looked just like you and then built a nation off of the backs of your ancestors' labor. My seat at the table of privilege gives me the ability to easily ignore the scraps of food that fall on the floor that you have to fight for. Professional cowardice is a learned behavior, and because my rights are handed to me on a silver platter in this country, I can say and do whatever I want, which includes being complicit through silence and inaction. For too long, I've carried your cause in my heart and shook my head disapprovingly as the bad things happened, all the while knowing that I was going to be just fine. I can't do that anymore. And I'm not asking for praise or adoration, I'm asking for direction. Help me understand how to fight for you. Give me the words to say. Give me the places to march. There are plenty of us that need to be emboldened by what you know, that need to have a fire lit in our souls that will cause us to speak up, not for our own justice, but for yours. So please continue to look men like me in the eye and say the things that need to be said, because for every one of us that would oppress you, there are those of us that want to liberate you. And I understand, it may sound disingenuous, you don't know me, I don't know you, but I care. And I'm asking for your forgiveness because my inaction has contributed to your plight. But I'm here now.
Hey, white woman boomer here. This is to answer your question as to why I'm so adamant about sticking up for my brothers and sisters of color and my LGBTQ and the indigenous people. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Yes, I can. Because see, I grew up in that racist shit. So let me just tell you this. During the foreclosure crisis, I had to start my own company because things were going crazy because I was a realtor and realtors were starving. So I created a company and I hired 2 different crews, and they were a Mexican family, and then he got his cousin and his family. They didn't work for me. Let me just repeat that, white people. My employees never worked for me. They worked with me. And that right there is the problem that we have in this society, because my business would not have gone anywhere or done what I was able to do with my crews if it weren't for my crews. These men worked their asses off. And they would say to me all the time, Miss Tess, you work too hard, go home, we've got this. I work with my employees. You see, I look and see how hard I've worked, and the white community doesn't see how hard our brothers and sisters of color work. They freaking built this country. So if you want to know why I'm so adamant about sticking up and standing side by side with our brothers and sisters of color and the LGBTQ and the indigenous, that's why. Because I am a woman of compassion and empathy. I work hard, and so do they. So this is why this bullshit about how they're stealing the white person's job, let me tell you. Why isn't your white ass been in the fields all these years, all these decades? Because that's the entitlement that is drilled in to the white mentality. You see, the hardworking people that I know are really, really the people of color. When I pull up at a stop sign and when I see Hispanic people, they're selling flowers, they're trying to sell something, but on the other side of the street, I have white people that are standing there with manicures, with a sign saying they're homeless. Seriously. So that is why I am on a mission to really reawaken this white mentality that's out there and let them see what they're missing in all of you, because they're clueless as to the level of community and kindness and respect that I know we all want to have. But this bitterness and this divisiveness, it's gone over the edge. And so many white people have bought that hook, line, and sinker. They actually think that Trump is going to save the white people. If you're not a billionaire, guess what? We're all in this together, whether you like it or not. And right now, the red states that are going to get hit the hardest, that's because you get your tax money coming in from the blue states. There's your wake-up call. So again, to all my brothers and sisters out there of color, my LGBTQers, and my indigenous, I don't want to leave anyone out. And I don't even want to leave out the white people. But white people, you got to get their shit together. You know? Get your shit together, white people. Because this country has gone to shit. Have a great night. I love you guys.
The Black community, I want you to know that I stand in solidarity with you, and I hope to hear from more white people that feel the same way I do. Look, we fucked up. White people fucked this election up big time. The Black community, to the vast majority, understood the assignment, and white people, just like always, came in and fucked this thing sideways. And when you look at all the things that Donald Trump has been peeling back, it is extremely, extremely concerning what he has done in just a few short days. And I saw a few Black creators on this app say, you know, it's up to the white people now. Like, white people are the ones who, we're not going to be affected by Donald Trump stuff. He's going to work to make our lives better at the expense of making everybody else's life worse. And I hope there are enough white people out there that feel like me that that is not acceptable. That is not acceptable. We have to say something. We have to do something. We have to use our voices in a positive way to combat Donald Trump and all of his draconian policies that are going to send us back into the Stone Age. He is going to get rid and demote every single race. The Black community knew this. The Black community has always known this. But so many white people didn't want to listen. And now here we are. So if you voted for Donald Trump as a white person, or you didn't vote at all, shame on you. Everything that you are going to see, everybody's life who is affected negatively by this presidency, everybody who is going to lose rights that they have had for decades and decades and decades are now being stripped away, can be denied employment, rolling back DEI, all these things. Shame on white people. I voted for Kamala Harris. I've been speaking out for 6 months on this platform, and I'm going to continue to do that against Donald Trump for the next 4 years. But I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say. I'm sorry. We fucked up. So, to the Black community, I am with you, and I hope there are enough people out there like me that are willing to stand by your side and work to move forward.
Today that is going to boost me for a long, long time. The patriarchy is crashing out. And it is. Everywhere you look, it's totally crashing out. We must rise. It is our time. It's our turn. Women are leading in the home, and there's no reason we should not be leading everywhere. Let's keep going. Keep fighting. Women, we're on this. We got this.
I see all of you who are using Labour right now in response to the US election and in response to the threat on the rights of women, people of colour and the queer community. I'm struggling to comprehend how a song that I wrote over 2 years ago is more relevant now than at the time in which I wrote it. I have many things to say, but today I want to address my male audience. As I know if you follow me and my music, it must mean that you have the intention of being a good ally to the women around you. And I want to tell you that the women around you are tuned in. They are seeing comments of "your body, my choice" from men who are rejoicing at their rights being stripped away. They fear for their safety because we are living in an epidemic of violence against women right now worldwide. They have watched as one of the most powerful countries in the world has elected a known rapist rather than a woman. The hatred of women is everywhere and they are getting terrified, they are enraged, and any silence, distance or apathy from you on any of these topics, I guarantee you will be creating a strain in the relationships you have between you and the women around you, even if that strain is invisible to you. Now is the time for active allyship, and in the words of Cole Arthur Riley in the project Black Liturgies, now is not the time to demand more work from black women. It's not the time to wait to be educated by the women, people of colour, queer and trans folk around you. Your role in this fight is to educate yourself and use your time and your voice to advocate for those around you, because your voice is being valued higher than those people around you by the people in power. It's your job and it's your privilege to make sure that women aren't screaming into the void, because women aren't safe anywhere in the world right now. Ask yourself what you can be doing and do it.
I don't think most Americans realize that when the evangelical MAGAs are calling out the sin of empathy, that it's an internal dog whistle to MAGA and MAHA moms to make sure they hold the line. I'm Tia Levings, and I wrote A Well-Trained Wife, My Escape from Christian Patriarchy. I often say that the patriarchy used what we wanted for ourselves against us. And I think about this as I watch MAGA turn mothers against vulnerable children. MAGA is a cult, and it's not unusual for mothers to leave cults when they realize their children are in harm's way. But the patriarchy always doubles down on women to maintain control and convince them that their strengths are actually a sin. Their voice and vote, their fierce protective instincts. Keeping women in line is one hand, getting women to work the line is the other. Empathy is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. And right now, MAGA and MAHA moms might be moved with empathy for the plight of children. I empathize with those moms because I know that they're being shamed and silenced into inaction. I read their posts and I see that even though they're very cavalier about the risks of their choice, they're afraid, and they constantly work overtime to convince themselves not to be afraid. Meanwhile, the patriarchy doubles down on their message to moms. They really can't afford for all these mothers to feel empathetic, change their minds, and go after the actual oppressors. Can you imagine what an uprising that would be?
America is not what it once was. I've got some bad news for people who don't travel internationally. The world hates us, okay? We're not the big dogs. We don't have the clout that we once had. We aren't even statistically on top of anything, education or anything anymore. And I've traveled a lot internationally. Over COVID, obviously, I stopped. And there's always been an underlying tone that America is dangerous. But, we run Hollywood, so a lot of the media that is consumed by people in other countries is still American. However, I'm on my first international trip since COVID, and it has gotten worse. I have heard from every nationality that America is dangerous, but I arrived in Indonesia, which is a country that, a lot of people aim to get out of and go to America. And the first thing that my taxi driver says to me is that he's afraid of America because of all the poppy seeds that we're taking and all the jazz powder that people are using. And he's convinced that people are walking around the US like zombies, because that's what's on the internet. That's what these people are seeing. And I think it's a really big lesson if you are sheltered and are not leaving the US. We don't got it. We don't got it anymore. People don't want to live in America. People aren't eager to live in America. When I was in Europe, a lot of the kids said their parents wouldn't let them go to America because they were afraid they were going to get popped by the police. Those are the fears. The only fear that Americans have when their children travel overseas is that they're going to be, in the movie Taken, which is a very small possibility. And they just use that as a fear. I don't even, like, that's not really even a founded fear. People aren't taking Americans when we go, because you know how big of a hell case they would raise if some little white girl went missing? That's not what's happening. But what is happening is other people from other nations are going to America and bad things are happening to them. So, just a reminder, we ain't shit. We ain't shit.
It's official. Segregation is now back on the table for the American government, and we have Donald Trump to thank for it. You heard me right. Thanks to Donald Trump, segregation is now no longer banned in the federal government. More specifically, government contractors are no longer banned from having segregated restaurants, waiting rooms, and drinking fountains. Yeah, thanks to Donald Trump, now government contractors can have shit like this again. And what was Donald Trump's logic behind this asinine decision? Well, he's tackling DEI, of course. Donald Trump is bringing back segregation in order to supposedly combat DEI. I wish I was making this shit up. I wish I was making up all of the insane shit that Donald Trump says and does. But unfortunately, this is just our fucked up reality now, and until somebody does something about Donald Trump, I'm afraid there won't be an end to the madness.
It's been 59 days since the fascist wannabe dictator took office here in the United States. And of course, he took a wrecking ball to our democratic institutions. He has put thousands upon thousands, including our veterans, out of work. He's tanked the stock market. He's tried to sever all of the ties and alliances we had with our allies, starting trade wars, treating them like garbage to the point that they hate us. And I don't blame them. While making alliances with murdering dictators like Putin and Netanyahu, who he wants to go in business with to level Gaza and build Trump hotels. Like, he knew the night before, and he okayed it. He okayed the bombing in Gaza that killed over 400 people, mainly women and children. That is not okay. That is not normal. All the other world leaders condemn this. Like, the whole world is telling you, this is wrong. This is not normal. Quit normalizing what this piece of shit is doing. Like, he is completely lighting a match to everything this country stood for. And there's groups of stupid people cheering it on. Like it's the best thing since sliced bread. What's wrong with you people? Like, when the entire world is telling you this isn't right, this isn't normal, you would think that would be a light bulb. You would think you would pay attention to your eyes and ears. Like, him threatening judges, it's not fucking normal. It's not right. He is not above the other two branches of government. There are three branches of government. Equal. He's not a fucking dictator. That's not what this country was built and made for. I can't even. Are we great yet? I just want to know, are we great yet? You know, day one, remember, he was going to fix all of this. Day one. No wars. Price of eggs down. Are we great yet? And all of these Republicans that are kissing his ass and allowing it, and all of the Democrats too, that are letting this shit slide, all of you have a hand in this. You're all going to be remembered in the history books. All of you. Enjoy that. I mean, just light a match to everything that this whole entire fucking country has stood for, and watch it burn down, and you all just sit back and do fucking nothing. It's just crazy. And the denial and the justification and the gaslighting from his cult base while they cheer that piece of shit and his flying monkeys on as they completely destroy this country. Like, they're cheering on the mega wealthy getting even wealthier. Don't tax the rich. Hey, take away from the poor. Like, and they're cheering it on. Yeah. It's crazy. Unbelievable. I mean, are we great yet, people? Are we great yet? Day 59. Are we great yet? Fucking yeah. Oh, $6 eggs. Don't forget. $6 fucking eggs.
To the women of America who are waking up to this election result this morning and are terrified, especially those of you who have experienced SA or DV, please take extra good care of yourselves today. I can only speak for me, but I can tell you that this result is real fucking triggering. To watch a person who has been convicted of crimes against women and has openly spoken about his hatred of women, to see him voted into the highest office in the world and not have to face the repercussions for what he did is just, it's not surprising, but it is so fucking triggering, and it is so fucking painful. But to anyone who voted red, there is a shame that will fall on you and that will follow you for the rest of your life. Because if there is one thing we know about women, it's that they don't forget.
America's a fundamentally racist nation? Have you heard this attack? Yeah, that's what people who are anti-CRT are saying CRT says. It says we're a racist nation. We had enslavement for a quarter of a millennia. We had Jim Crow with a lynching every week for 100 years. And since then, we've taken apart all of the major Supreme Court decisions and legislation and made them basically toothless. At the highest levels of government, are you sure we don't have something to talk about? Are you sure we don't have something to say, like maybe we got something going on here? That it just isn't perfect and it's not all bubbles and rainbows?
When I see the Make America Great Again, my comment is, do you accept that that could possibly be construed as a racist remark? When was it ever great in America for the African American?
So Bryan Cranston has stirred up a lot of controversy recently on the internet with an interview highlighting something that a lot of places have studied for some time. Talking about how the phrase "Make America Great Again" and other phrases similar tend to highlight the lack of empathy we're always seeing from the right, and their overall consistent inability to step outside of their own experience and acknowledge others. Because at its core, that is what empathy is, the ability to share someone else's feelings or experience by imagining what it would be like to be in that person's situation. Which is kind of the main reason I always say, I have some friends and acquaintances that are kind of on the right, but I would never date someone on the right because someone who has a lot of empathy is important to me in dating, and cue all of the crying boys who totally don't care in my comments. The phrase itself, "Make America Great Again," perfectly embodies their utter lack of empathy. Because it brings up the great question that they can never seem to answer is, when was America great for absolutely everybody and not just straight white men is the catch. I mean, African Americans weren't even technically freed until 1869. They couldn't really all even vote, and not even voting safely at this point, till 1870. They're still fighting being able to vote safely and easily to this day. The Civil Rights Act wasn't passed until 1964, not that long ago. Married women weren't even allowed to own their own property or keep their own working wages until 1848. We definitely couldn't even vote until 1920. Even though technically we were supposed to be able to have our own bank accounts in the 60s, many banks would still not allow them to be signed off without a husband. And without a husband, we weren't allowed to own credit cards until 1974. Which is wild when you consider that's close to 10 years off from when my oldest sibling was born. And many of us weren't even allowed to be married legally everywhere until 2015, and they're still fighting that constantly to this day. When you say the phrase "Make America Great Again," who does that include? Because it excludes all women, all people of color, LGBTQ communities. Do you want to do the math on who's left in that equation? Yeah, it's people who have no ability to see outside of their lived experience and understand that America wasn't really ever that amazing for the rest of us.
Now, I would love some of my black friends, mutuals, and followers to weigh in on this, but sundown towns absolutely still exist. Now, the term sundown town actually used to be a legal thing where towns could have different rules and regulations and laws against black people versus white people. And though that doesn't formally exist anymore, the term still is correct because there are still people in those areas that still feel the same way. And I'm not going to name that many towns, but there are plenty of them still out there. Ask anybody who is a person of color to tell you where a sundown town is. I guarantee you they can do it. I can't speak for other parts of the country, but they absolutely still exist all throughout the South. I know of ones in Georgia. I know of ones in Alabama. I know of ones here in Tennessee where I live, in both the Carolinas, where if you are a person of color, you don't want to be caught there after dark because of the way that they are. And I'm not saying that that's okay, because it's absolutely not okay and zero tolerance for things like that. But unfortunately, there are still plenty of racist people out there that this exists. And you making this comment is basically just trivializing the people who go through that kind of stuff. In fact, late last year in North Carolina, there was a black truck driver found with a rope around his neck tied to a tree. So tell me that these things still don't exist, because we're not going to hide it and pretend that they don't.
Just need a Republican to make this make sense. Trump pretty publicly ran on migrants, right? Like, no more people coming in. Some of the people that are here have to go. Like, it was pretty public. We all saw it, right? He also just signed an executive order prioritizing the resettlement of South African refugees to the United States. Hear that again, and keep in mind who's the most famous South African that you know. Some people can't name a second South African, to be honest. So you have South Africans, specifically of European descent, which they got there because they left the Netherlands and they came down and they colonized South Africa. That's just a fact. That's how that happened. That's how you get white South Africans. And they're now getting priority to come in to America. Priority, like when you're like getting on a plane and they're like, priority, come get on the plane first, immediately, like right now. That's what's happening. I ask all that because, like, the big question behind that for me is, like, is it because they're white? Like, is that it? And if you hit me with the word Jenny and you're like, that's why, where are the executive orders for the other Jennies occurring to get safety here in America? I don't know.
So let's take it back to the root of the issue, ladies. The root of the issue is, I know a lot of people like to say that there is a gender war going on, but it is not a gender war. This is a male issue. Throughout time, men have started wars. Men have caused this division. Men have put themselves in hierarchies and tried to subjugate and oppress everybody below them, women, children, other races. And we see this throughout nature, all throughout nature. We see this with not just male human men, we see it with male animals in nature. But the only difference is the females in nature are smart enough to know to stay separated from the males and to see them as predators. We as women have not been taught to see males as predators, and they've even taught some women to turn against other women and help them do their wickedness. As you can see, how many women voted for this. So, ladies, going into April 2025, we see all the changes. Black women, y'all see that we are the least protected, the most hated. I will never know why, but we are also birthing the people that don't like us also. I know there's a lot of Black women who are trying to come together with men who look like them right now. And I don't think that's such a good idea, because we've been in this system for centuries. We've been in America for hundreds of years. And the men who look like us, I'm sorry to break it to y'all, I see a lot of Black women online saying we need to be segregated. We need our own bathrooms. That's fine. We can do better on our own. And without them, you cannot. You don't have anything. Once again, if they were to segregate everything today, you don't have a hospital to go to have your baby or get checked on, or if you're having a heart attack. You don't have restaurants that are that have good customer service, because we haven't learned to really get our customer service down. I'm not saying there's not a lot of Black people that don't have good customer service, but it is a whole bunch of y'all that y'all know what I'm talking about. But we don't have schools. We would have to homeschool. And even then, the homeschools that are set up online are not set up by us. We don't have healthy grocery stores or a lot of fast food restaurants or just any neighborhoods that we own. So I wish I would stop seeing Black women in the comments saying, good, we need to be segregated. This is a good thing. Do y'all not remember what happened when we were segregated? We try, like I said before, we are not in our own land. They feel like this is their America, and they don't want us here. And there are women who are helping them accomplish what they're getting accomplished. Money talks. Like, men with money, it talks. So that is why they're able to do all this stuff right now, and the government is just sitting back letting it happen, because a lot of these people are, it's really is good versus evil. It is really good versus evil. I'm seeing a lot of people saying that they want to be allies and help because they see what's coming down the pipeline. But throughout history, we know that that's changed. When people put a bounty on certain people and other people are suffering and don't have anything, and they can get paid to do certain things, they're going to do it because they're desperate. That it's been done before. You know, a lot of y'all don't know about the slave patrol. That's where our police in America came from. They paid poor white men to hunt down slaves, and they put them over black people. Even though they were poor, they soon started feeling like they were more important. So people with money can pay people to be on their side and put fear into people to be on their side. And that's what we're seeing right now in the government. It's spreading really fast, and there are other countries that are just wondering why come Americans are not standing up and fighting like us. We see what's going on and they're not fighting. Americans are scared. Americans have never been through anything like this. Most of us alive, we have not been through anything like this. So a lot of people are just a lot of talk, and they don't know how serious it is. Some people do know how serious it is, but they don't know what to do. So everybody's just kind of sitting back waiting for the next person to do it and just being bystanders. And a lot of palm-colored people think that this is not going to affect them and their families because they're white. No. There are going to be casualties. You know, there are people in a lot of their families that are black and biracial, and that they're going to want to protect, and they may not because they might fear for their life. It's so many things coming down the pipeline. I can't even focus on black men or people who say that they are allies, because it's like, you could say that, your mouth could say anything, but I can't tell the difference between you and a person that hates my guts. Like, if you were to walk up to me today, I couldn't tell the difference. So black women, all I'm going to say is just remember what happened throughout history and prepare. In any way you can, get your food, get your seeds, get whatever you need to get, and prepare. And that's all I got to say, ladies. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, get down in the comments, and let me know what you think about everything that's going on. And I will talk to you all later. Bye.